Take two, because my roommate just called me. Anyways, so I am not feeling the greatest, if you can't tell. So I apologize. I also didn't type out my script, so I'm going to be turning pages. Anyways, so I ended up reading the book Collapse by Jared Diamond. You may be familiar with that name if you've read the book Guns, Germs, and Steel. That was his first book, I believe. And then this one, Collapse, he goes in, it was about 600 pages, a little bit under. It's more into detail about sustainability and how we can use our resources. But his structure was very unique. I don't know if this is similar structure to Guns, Germs, and Steel, because I haven't read that. But it was in 4 parts. Each part had its own chapters, and then each chapter was maybe like a couple pages. At the beginning of each section, it would say the chapters, like their numbers, and then what was going on in said chapters. And so that really helped me, because I'm the type of person who, like, if I'm reading and something's good, I'm gonna keep reading it, like, and then I'm never gonna get any sleep, and then I'm gonna miss class. No, I'm just kidding. But I liked how he structured this. It made it a lot easier for me to read. I don't know if some people would like this. I know some people don't like when books are sectioned up, but I personally liked it for nonfiction. Let's see. So he starts the book off with the prologue, and then moves into the first part, which is modern Montana. So basically this part just goes into, like, the perspectives of those who are the bad guys, you know, like farmers, foresters, miners, you know, all that stuff. And you would say to farmers, don't use harmful pesticides. Simple thing. But to them, it's the matter of accessibility, effectiveness, whether they're going to be able to feed their families. Do they have enough to even do that? Like, it's just, there's a lot of things that go into it that you don't think about, and it's just a matter of asking that person how they feel about it. I was actually in another class earlier this week talking about this. We have this sustainable business group where we have a full semester-long project, and I was mentioning how we need to get the stakeholders' opinions, because we're never going to get anywhere if we aren't getting everyone's side of the story, because ultimately stakeholders are the ones that are making these decisions. So you need them to be on board. But that's not related to the book. Excuse me. So part 2. This was past societies. This was probably my favorite part of the book. It just talks about, like, past societies that eventually ended up collapsing. Some ones that were included were Easter Island, some other Polynesian islands, the Mayan societies, Greenland Vikings, and some others. This was definitely the most interesting part, because I feel like I learned about this stuff in, like, grade school, but I didn't actually go into detail in what I learned about, you know, and, like, how they collapsed, what eventually led to their downfall, because a lot of it's pretty similar to what's going on right now, and it's just, I feel like modern society, modern teachings didn't want to let us know that, because it's not in their agenda, you know? This is just my opinion. Excuse me. Anyways, so part 3 is going to be modern societies. When this book was written, Diamond had written about Rwanda and how they were on their downfall. But honestly, I really wish that we had included more on America. Granted, now times have changed, but America has always been kind of but especially in today's day, like, reading this book and relating it back to present, there was just too many crossovers. Finally, part 4 is just where we learn our lesson, you know. Basically, think about the Easter Islands, for instance. Why did they deplete all their resources when there were clear signs that they were not going to be replenished and they were running out? Replace Easter Island with America, anyone in today's society, you know, and it's the same question. Why are we doing this? But history repeats itself. So some reoccurring themes that I noticed in this book were population control, quality of life, sustainability, and resource management. But I'd say the main theme out of the 4 would be sustainability. Diamond really went into detail on, like, forestry and soil fertility, erosion, mining, and, like, more. But not so much to persuade, and more so to inform about what impacts these are having and how collapse is going to follow. Basically, Diamond's main goal is to inform and let the reader know the information that he knows and let them do with that what they will. Although I really did like this book, it can be a bit much to read sometimes. For one, it's almost 600 pages. And for two, it just goes very into detail about, like, the suffering and, like, that kind of detail, I guess. I don't know what other word to use. But I suppose, like, we need to know this. We need to read this, considering people did go through this suffering, and people will go through this suffering again if we don't read this. But it's definitely a hard read.